Let's just talk about hoes. Can we talk about hoes? Hoes, hoes. Let's just talk about hoes. Can we talk about hoes? Hoes, hoes, hoes. Let's just talk about hoes. Can we talk about hoes? Hoes, hoes, hoes. Let's just talk about hoes. Can we talk about hoes? Hoes. Let's go.
What is hoeism and what determines it?
Hoeism is the way that a girl carries herself in a sexual manner and how she goes about her sexual.
Okay, when I think of a hoe, I think of people that are exactly just out there, but are willing to go out and degrade their own bodies for the pleasure of others. Like, okay, for females, for instance, people that go out to the bars and are in like crop tops and booty shorts with their ass completely hanging out, just for the hell of it. Like, why the hell? And then there's guys that are out there that posting videos like, oh yeah, cute body, and like Calvin Klein wannabe models. It's just, it's a degrading for yourself.
What gives someone the title of being a hoe?
If she can, it don't matter how many people she slept with. If she just slept with one person, but I know about it, and other people know about it, she a hoe. Like, if people know who you slept with, you a hoe. That's what it is.
Thank you.
If you're a hoe, I think inside that you know you're a hoe. If you have sex or any sexual activity with a person who's already in a relationship, you are a hoe. If you have sex with more than 5 different people in one day, you are a hoe.
According to our social stigmas, it's kind of like if you show off a lot of skin for females, that's seen as being a hoe, but not necessarily, man, because sometimes that's just people's style. Like, my style is my style. So if a girl decides that she wants to show off her belly or whatnot, it doesn't make her a hoe. It doesn't make, I mean, you can't judge what people do in their personal life, because a hoe is what you see a hoe as. Because if a girl sleeps with 30, 40 guys, yeah, society might deem her as a hoe, but there might be another underlying cause to it, you know what I'm saying? She might have insecure problems and stuff like that.
Define a hoe to you guys?
To be honest, I don't think, like, I guess amount of partners determines it. Like, if you're being safe, if you're like, I guess, like, say you're in a relationship, you go in a relationship, you're 6 months in, and you have sex, and then break up, another 6 months go past, you go with somebody else, and then repeat. Like, I don't feel like that's what a hoe is, but I feel like if, like, a girl just goes around, or a dude, they just, like, meet somebody, or, like, trying to have sex, hook up that night, I feel like that's what a hoe is. Like, one night stand, I feel like that whole culture, and, like, hookup culture, I feel like that's what a hoe is. Like,
Honestly, I think there's a fine line between wholeness and embracing your sexuality. But what causes wholeness, again, you know if you're being a hoe. You know. How many partners are too many? I honestly do not think that there is a limit on how many people you can have sex with. Only because it's different for different cultures. It's different. It determines on how you think. It's like, 20 is a lot.
The way I see it, it's intent. Like, if you're actually intending to go out and meet different guys and have sex with them, like, if you're not looking for anything committed, then basically, if you're going around, then you're just a hoe to me.
Personally, I don't believe in the word hoe per se, Like, it's your body, you do what you want with it. I do believe that you should respect it. I wouldn't classify anybody as being a hoe per se.
Okay, and does body count or how many partners you have factor into this?
I don't think body count's even really a big thing. Or who, if you ask, or if you don't ask, because sometimes you won't even get the truth.
Why has the term hoe become so loosely used?
I just feel like because our generation has no filter now, people say bitch, nigga, hoe all the time now, as basically endearment. You know, girls call their best friends hoe, bitch, you know. So, I mean, it's just a word now.
You guys feel about sexual exploration? Meaning, is it okay for people to go out and have different partners just to see what they like or what they don't like?
Well, with that, I feel like in today's society, people view that as being a hoe or being a slut or whatever you want to call it. And initially, or with today's society, that's frowned upon.
I don't really believe in hoism necessarily, because I feel like as like you start to come of age, for you to find out what sexual partner you necessarily like prefer, or what person is beneficial to your success or whatever later on in your time, you have to go through different types of people, because you can't date one or two people and decide, okay, this is the right and perfect person for me. You have to have enough experiences to know who is for you. Now, as in terms of what makes you a hoe,
Is being a hoe wrong, or simply the need for sexual expression?
Well, it depends on how you're being a hoe. If you know your friend has a boyfriend and you sitting there talking to your boyfriend and all your friends' boyfriends trying to have sex with them, then that's just wrong. But if you having sex with people casually that isn't involved with someone, then go ahead if you're being safe. 3 sexual partners at a time is risky, just because if you get pregnant then you don't know who's the father. But if you're being safe and you let them all know that how many sexual partners you have, then I think it's okay.
I think it's great that females are embracing their sexuality these days, and it does kind of counterpart whether you are a hoe or not, but I still think there is a fine line. You can embrace your sexuality and smash whoever you want to smash. But if you're smashing people that are already in a relationship or who are already married, who are already tied to other people, that is a problem. You are a hoe.
So you're only a hoe when you're doing it with someone who's already in a relationship.
Who's already in a relationship, and you are a hoe if you do it with many different people at one time.
Male or female.
Male or female. What is wrong with a person having multiple sex partners if they are safe and healthy? Nothing. Wrap it up.
Absolutely, because you have all types of girls who are getting all this money, using guys for their money and just for sex, you know what I mean? Like, it's not okay.
It is the movement. Like, I feel like that's where it came from, but we support it. Kind of sad that one of the same partners going back to say on, but at the same time I'm happy that it is, because, you know, I used to be one of the kids coming home watching the videos and stuff like that, and it's not to say that they were literally having videos about, you know, people out there hoeing and stuff, but everybody can get the pictures. You don't have to be that old or that young to understand what's going on, especially this day and age when, you know, media is, you know, you see little kids with iPhones, they're not their iPhones, but iPhones, iPads, and all this stuff. Everything's so easy to reach.
Has the media made being a hoe socially acceptable?
It's getting to that point. It's I feel in maybe about 5 years it's gonna be called something else.
According to history, the word whore or hoe has been used since biblical times. It was once used as whore, and then it changed into whoremonger. But in the 60s, the actual term hoe became prevalent when there was a lot of sexual liberation. So how do you all feel about this word, since it's obviously older than all of us?
I feel like in biblical times, the term, well, you said whore, the term whore was a prostitute, but today it's just anybody, so the meaning behind it has declined throughout time. That's how I feel about it.
Because they kept calling it like a harlot. That was the main thing that they said, like for biblical times, like a harlot. So.
And I feel like a harlot was just a woman who cheated on her husband just because she did that. She's a hoe, whereas the man, like in the Scarlet Letter, the woman was chastised because she went out and cheated on her husband, whereas the man, you never heard about him after they mentioned him. You never heard about him again in the book. So it was a difference between male or female, even way back then, and still today.
Worse, because right now things that people do that's considered being a hoe a couple years ago is normal now.
That social media gives the context that certain things are okay. A lot of people look up to celebrities.
good or bad, and they see things on TV and they try to emulate them, or they just kind of co-sign that certain things that they do are okay, and they try to go out in real life copy that. But a lot of times those celebrities are doing it for an act and it's not as real. But a lot of people don't know that reality TV isn't so reality.
Definitely not okay to have a side chick or a side guy in a relationship. That's just not okay. If you're in a relationship, that's between two. The side guy, the side girl wouldn't be a hoe, but it's like if they know about the relationship, then that's something completely different. But I wouldn't call them a hoe because, you know, some people are just, like I said, expressing their sexual desires and needs.
No, you can't have side chicks or guys in relationships because those side people, they belong. They're not there for the relationship. They're there to tear apart the relationship. And
Is the side chick considered a hoe?
yes, because she knows the dude got a girl, and the dude is also considered a hoe because he got a girl and he got a side chick on the side.
Side chick, if he or she is there, basically they are considered a hoe because you're doing whole things, you're freaking late at night, you're not out with this person, so you're doing whole like things, so you might as well be considered a hoe.
Why has the term hoe become so loosely used?
Definitely music. Our music runs everything nowadays. So our music is saying ho 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 ho. That's what we hear. That's what we believe.
No way. No side chicks. That's totally disrespectful. And you are ultimately the biggest hoe. Side chicks.
Hoeism is like more accepted for people like Cardi B and like strippers like that are out there like that. It's because I mean they're people look up to them because they're famous and because I mean most people look at them and be like, oh, I want that type of body, and she's making money for it. If you just hoeing on campus, you don't make any money for that, so it's not like something that everybody would praise. Because me and my friends joke all the time that we're gonna be strippers because it's money.
In Cardi B stance, is it wrong?
They're wrong? No, because it's her body. She can do whatever she wants with it. But is it wrong for her to encourage people to be hoes? Yes, that is wrong. That's not okay.
I mean, we got people like Cardi B right now who embrace her hoism because she make money off of it. So, I mean, I say it shouldn't be denied. If you a hoe, be a hoe.
Okay, first question is, why do people like Cardi B or other strippers get praised for their bodies and hypersexuality?
Social media just makes it a bigger thing than what I think it really is.
So do you think they're accepted more than the average woman?
No, and only because that kind of body is not the kind of woman that you see on a daily basis. When you walk outside, you don't see somebody with a waist this thin and like a body like this. Like, you don't see that. So
Cardi B is the queen of hoes. She embraces her sexuality and she gives confidence to people that really do not think that they should embrace their sexuality at all, and I applaud her for it.
So because she's getting money off of it, it's still good regardless?
It's good.
Okay. How do you feel about feminism versus Twitter hoism?
I think, well, for one, the word hoe, I feel like it's subjective. So everybody has a different opinion on what a hoe is. But what I think Twitter hoism is the girls who like to post pictures, like naked pictures of themselves, like body posing and this and that. And the whole confliction comes in, I guess, because feminism is not about you wanting to be naked and showing everybody. When it was started, it's supposed to be about getting equality for women and men. So I think that's where the whole clash comes in.
Regardless if you're a hoe or not, do you deserve respect?
Everybody deserves respect, but you gotta respect yourself.
Alright. And being a hoe, that means you don't respect yourself?
I guess so, in a way.
Male or female?
Female.
a sense, embracing holism, like pretty much you're saying that it's okay.
Like, yeah, you're like, to be a hoe, you're saying you're proud of your sexuality, you're expressing yourself. Is that okay, or is that exploitation?
I don't think it's okay, but I think for those that are saying it's okay, I think it is exploiting, who we are. Because I feel like when you say something like that, if I were to say that, I feel like I'm exploiting a black man because I am a representation of that. So, yeah, that's kind of crazy. Embracing exploitation is it's like a domino effect, kind of.
No. Exploitation, I think, has to do with someone else exploiting you. Hoeism, or embracing your sexuality, that's all you by yourself. You're embracing your sexuality. That's you in your mind being confident with your body.
Okay, so hold on. You know the Nicki Minaj album, The Anaconda. Is she being a hoe, or is she embracing her sexuality?
She is not being a hoe. She is just being sexy, okay? And that's fine. You can be sexy. She's embracing her booty, and I love it.
I would definitely co-sign that it is definitely a double standard when it comes to what males and females can do. I definitely think that the word hoe has definitely changed over the years. A lot of times I believe the word whore is mainly used for women who gain some type of money or some type of currency for what they did, sexual favors. But now I see it as more of just a way that what they want to do themselves. So I feel like maybe that's why they dropped the R and just dropped it at hoe.
What makes you a hoe then? Is it your body count, the activities you do? What is it?
What makes you a hoe?
Male and female.
Male and female? Oh, it's a double standard in all senses of hoe. What makes a male a hoe, what makes a female a hoe is totally different. What makes a male can have sex with 30 women and still be, you feel me, like accepted. But if a female has sex with 3-4 guys, like boys looking at her some type of way. So it really depends. What makes a female a hoe all depends on that man. But if you ask me, body count is a very big factor in being a hoe. In the society we live in today, a woman can never do what a man does and still be respected. So males get away with a whole lot more. But in my opinion, they're the worst hoes. But females just have to understand that you can't try to do what males do. You just have to still be respectable and respect yourself. So that you don't give these males any type of dirt to call you a hoe or to bash your name, because they will do it. I know, I'm a male. Males, we ain't, it's no rock with us. That's it. And in terms of the whole social stigma of guys not being able to be hoes, that's bullshit. But it's kind of like, if I sleep with 100 girls and a girl sleeps with 100 guys, there's no difference. We have the same amount of bodies, if that's what you want to call it.
Gary McGee, I was a freshman.
Okay, and are there double standards between a male and female in being a hoe?
Yes, there are. I believe there, to a certain extent, should be in the fact that, women are precious and beautiful and amazing creatures, so they should treat themselves as such and not let themselves be susceptible to sleeping around with many partners, in my opinion. And I believe that they should treat themselves as a temple, and that goes for men as well.
Is being a hoe just body count?
Not only that, a lot of it is your persona and what you put on, because I know a lot of females that sleep around but are very classy about it and respectable. And you have some women, as well as men, that aren't, and treat sex and devalue sex and don't give the respect that it deserves. So I think you see that from both sides. But
okay, are there different requirements to be a hoe based on male and female?
Yes, if you're a male and you're a hoe, then you can talk to like 20 girls and be considered a hoe, but it's still not bad. If you're female and you talk to 2 boys that know each other, then you are automatically a hoe.
What I think about hoeism is it is a dichotomy between male and female,
Males think that they can go and sleep with random people while females have a limited number on their body count. I personally think if you embrace your hoeism and accept that everybody is a hoe, then everything will be normal.
Do you think there's a double standard between a male and a female hoe, and why?
I feel like there's a double standard because, you know, males are held to different standards than women. I mean, what would, if a male was caught, you know, being a hoe, I mean, his buddies would embrace that, like, oh yeah, but if a female, you know, they're kind of looked down on, slut shamed and things like that.
Like my friends, like my own group of friends, they're like, oh, you haven't had sex yet, you haven't done all this, and it's like, I kind of just want a girl. And then this is like, if a girl, like, I guess, a girl was caught doing the same thing that they tried to get me to do, they'd be just like torn apart. Like everybody in school would know about their sexual history, what they did, who they did it with. And the guy they did it with would be like held up here like, oh, he did it, yes. And the girl's just like, I don't know, I guess like they're treated like sex is a bad thing, but then guys are supposed to embrace it and like enjoy it, have as much as you can.
Yeah, I've been looked down upon for like still being a virgin at my age. I'm like, that's not normal. Like I believe like you should probably wait for marriage and stuff like that. And maybe that's because I was growing up in like a traditional home or whatever, but I still feel like that's right, religion or not.
Does females now embracing their sexuality and recognizing their equivalence to the need for sexual expression and experience in relation to their male counterpart hoeism? Well, I think that, I mean, guys are considered hoes or dogs or whatever because they sleep around a lot or they treat women differently, and then it's turned around and worsened on women's part because they're starting to act like men and think like men.
So you never heard a male being called a hoe?
I've never like seen a guy who's like, yeah, I've slept with 5 girls, and I've never heard a guy go like, man, you a hoe. Like, can you imagine that?
Yes,
Yeah.
But do you think that's okay, or do you think, why do you think that is?
I feel like too many is a little bit kind of like there's a point where it's just like, I just ate 40 hamburgers. It's just like, that's a little bit too many. Like, religious views can affect it, personal moral values can affect it, but you know, it all depends up to you. But I do think at a certain point, you know, there's something where it's just like, you need to slow it down a little bit.
Being a hoe, just messing with someone while they're already in a relationship, are those the only requirements to be a hoe?
I mean, if you have a lot of, if you sleep around a lot, then I guess you can be considered a hoe.
Male or female, same amount?
No. Girls, it's like half the number of guys is.
Zach, I'm a sophomore. And it has a negative connotation for women, and men are generally they're more glorified by the more partners they have, and it happens to be a hypocrisy because they don't want a woman to have too many previous partners.
And as in a whole, in the African American culture, is always seen as like it's always seen as a girl, the African American girl that has like a robust backside with tight pants, showing up her upper extremities and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Who dances at the club? You know that's what's seen as a hoe in the African American culture. And then what's seen as a hoe of a man in the African American culture is a man that is a man that has this whole, or what our generation like would call an F-boy, is a guy that walks around with, the extreme confidence that he can get any girl and does get any girl, you know what I mean? And that's seen as a hoe. But to me, hoeism doesn't exist, man. Because how I see it is, you can sleep with how many ever amount of people and no one can know, but you can sleep with someone, but you can sleep with 3 people and people find out and you're a hoe. But the person that slept with 40 plus people, no one has any idea that they're being a hoe, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, a hoe is just like an unfortunate social stigma that society has created. It's a cultural norm that society has created. Like we all want, we always want to find something wrong with someone, and that's always the number one thing that unfortunately African American males want to give African American women, which is really unfortunate because we should be empowering our women. And it's really, I mean, talking about hoeism is kind of sad. And to be honest, Amber Rose spoke on it, and she spoke on it really well. Just because you walk around and you like to show off your body parts that God gave you. Like, God gave you this body for a reason. Show it off, you know what I'm saying? Do whatever you wish to do with it. But,
They're starting, like, of course, the early
1910s or 1800s, women have always been viewed as something pure, as something that's supposed to be clothed, a flower of some sort, something pure. But you know, as times go on, things change, but that idea about women really hasn't. We're still kind of seen as this beautiful, kept secret kind of thing. But it doesn't really make sense, because we're exposed all the time in terms of the media, but then when we want to take advantage of that and expose ourselves, it's deemed inappropriate. And it's ideas like that make little girls growing up, they're not sure if, well, they're in love with their boyfriend, should they have sex? Because they always think, well, if I have sex, then I'll be a hoe. Why is it that little girls have to think like that? But then boys are applauded, praised even, for having multiple conquests. And I find myself having conversations with my roommate about my number, as in the number of people I've slept with. Like, how many people is acceptable and how many people isn't.
Do you think there's a difference in the term hoe based on different races?
Honestly, no. I've never heard anybody being called a hoe just because they're one race or another. And just the idea of somebody calling somebody a hoe rather than just because they're one race, like, I can't even imagine it.
I took to my Twitter and I posed the question, who is shamed more for being a hoe? And astonishingly, those that voted, about 43, responded 91% saying black women are shamed more, opposed to the 9% saying black men are shamed more. How do y'all feel about that, being young black women in this world?
I feel as though no matter what we do, we're gonna be looked at as hoes. Like, I can post a picture of my bathing suit because I've worked hard for this body, and it's like, chill. You know, it's like small things, no matter what you do, the way you get your hair, the way you dress, the way you walk, the way you talk.
How did y'all feel about the Aisha Curry tweets? Like, she basically said that I cover up for my husband, I leave the good stuff for my husband, but it was kind of like an underlying tone that she kind of was like, well, I feel like she didn't specifically say I feel like I'm better than, you know, these people, but like, if you don't cover up or you wear like some tight fitting clothing or like low cut clothing, like, you're not worthy to like just be a woman. Basically, that's how I took it. And I like Aisha Curry, but
And I don't think, I mean, what she said, but I think people on social media took it there. Like, she wasn't saying if you show this and this, you a hoe. She wasn't saying that. She just said, what's for me and my man is me covering up. That's what I'm gonna do. But you know, that those Twitter people who just take things too seriously and make it more than what it is. It wasn't like that. I don't think she's degrading people who do that. She was just saying, this is me, and you do you.
Your body it's yours, and you can make your own decisions with it, and boys often do, and boys are taught to. But women, it's like we're taught to keep ourselves closed, you know, but everywhere we look there's a naked girl, but we're not allowed to be those naked girls. And it's just in simple terms, it isn't fair.
There's a difference in this issue based on different races, African Americans, Caucasian, and so forth?
No. Because I think if a black girl is running around having sex with a bunch of people, she's a hoe. If a white girl's doing it, she's a hoe. If an Asian person is doing it, it is a hoe. But notice how I'm saying person and then saying she. I'm not saying person and then just saying hoe. I'm saying person and then saying she. Boys aren't shamed for it. You know, it's that kind of shaming that makes girls close themselves up, depressed, and it makes people go to extremes enough to kill themselves. I am comfortable with my body, but the thing is, it took a lot to get me there, and I'm only 18. Why is it that I have to go through this whole internal struggle and tears and talking to people and going to extremes like other people did just to say, my name is Eniola and I like to have sex? It's a big deal, but it isn't a big deal. And whatever I choose to do with my body is my decision, and it's nobody else's business but mine.
Okay, first question. Is embracing hoism simply a rise in confidence in the African American community?
I would say yes, because I guess, you know, they feel like they can get any guy they want, regardless of what their relationship status is, and no, because they feel like people that embrace hoism have low self-esteem, or, you know, they just can't get a guy on their own.
Embracing hoism is simply a rise in confidence in the African American community. As African Americans, we are called hoes just by doing anything. So embracing any kind of sexual activity as a female and being black is very brave. So I don't think it's a problem. It is a rise in confidence.
In the assigned book, Popular Culture, Marcel Denacy examines both platforms in the debate against women versus sexuality. For the advocating side, Denacy argues that Madonna started the movement by using the power of her sexual persona to show young women how to be fully female and sexual while exercising control of their bodies and lives. However, on the contrary, the opposing side acknowledges that the rise of popular culture is degrading to women and a source of influence in promoting violence against women. But oddly today, the violence of verbal abuse attacks the black community more than any other, and more so emphasis on the double minority, black women, because they get the harshest backlash by a surveyed 94%. Under further research, sources such as the article Confronting Hypersexuality in the Black Community, a National Public Radio interview with Herbert Samuel, and Myrelle Miller Young, sex education professors, shed further insight on the reasoning behind this evident fact. It is estimated that slavery brought rise to the hypersexuality of the black community. The early white society mindset proposed the black community to be animalistic in their sexual desires. Black men were portrayed as misogynist and sexual prowess, whereas in order for white slave masters to justify raping black women, they were portrayed as being promiscuous and craving encouragers of sexual advances. Yet despite the fetish and interest in the black woman's body, in the sex industry, black women have the lowest erotic capital, which corresponds to their lower value in the labor economy. Due to this engraved sexual stereotype in the black community, it explains a period when the black community disidentified with their sexuality completely to avoid being attached to this negative stigma. But all things have a lifespan. Today we see black women biting the bullet and taking the power away from their offenders. Today black women are proclaiming their sexual identity to the extent that it can no longer be used as a weapon against them, which sparked the revolution of using society's insults, such as hoe, as a ladder towards endearment to uplift the community of black women.
Scene 2, cameras rolling, and action. Emotion.
We're talking about hoes here today. Big hoes, small hoes, little hoes, fat hoes, skinny hoes, vegan hoes.
Vegan hoes?
Definitions have been
You a tragedy. If you were doing it, you were a bad bitch. If you was a hoe, what you know what you lived with, nigga, giving the pussy everybody on the block. I see him down and I cut it down like a clock. Piece up, ain't town down. If you a hoe, you ain't from around. Turn it up, give it up, suck it up. We like to fuck. Give it to me, give it to me, yeah. Give it to me, girl, just like you should. You a hoe. You already know.
This is going in there.
No,
this is going in there.
No,
we got the audio.
At least the audio.
Maybe like after the credit, just let it roll.
Just like,
And then just have the bloopers.
You're on a 10. We need you at a 2.
we need you at a strong 2. Not,
Need like maybe
actually,
a 1.5.
we might can get by with the 1.5 for real.
Because you showing Daniel.
Ooh, Daniel.
Damn, Daniel.
Oh, wait, you was recording? Oh, God.
You been recording the whole time. You didn't hear the beep. You didn't hear the sound.
I thought I was turning it off.